A family gathering in a Moscow apartment to reminisce about the good times. The happy memories of the wedding 20 years ago of Tatiana, only daughter of Ivan Dmitrovich Yershov, to her tutor Edward Lazansky. But in those intervening years, this has been a family at war. The arrival of Edward provoked a battle of life and death between daughter and father. The father's love for his daughter was to clash with his devotion to the greatest fighting force on earth. For General Ivan Yershov, the Red Army has been his life. Starting as a young soldier from a peasant background, he rose through the ranks to become one of the Soviet Union's most important military leaders. The Cold War was the making of his career. In 1968, his greatest moment arrived. He was selected to take a key role in the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia, deputy commander of the Warsaw Pact forces. On the morning of the invasion, he arrived in Prague to coordinate the destruction by the Soviet tanks of Alexander Dubček's Prague Spring. The action provoked outrage around the world, but in Moscow the general was rewarded with another star. Nothing, it seemed, could halt his inevitable rise to the very top of the Red Army. That was until the day he and his wife arranged for their daughter, Tatiana, then a 17-year-old student, to meet Edward Lazansky, 10 years her senior.
My parents decided to take me to a private teacher because I was very stupid and I didn't like math and physics.
I was a poor student and I had to make some money by making some private lessons. Now I got a phone call from a lady who was asking me to tutor her daughter. And I really didn't want to do it because I was quite busy. But she was very persistent, and I remember she promised me a lot of money, which I couldn't refuse. She only knew what she's getting into.
Our limo brought us to a small house, and we were in the door. This guy appeared.
I opened the door and I saw the most beautiful girl I ever saw in my life. And when I saw her, first time I thought, that's it. This probably will be my wife.
He never told me that.
They soon fell in love and talked of marriage. But there was one fundamental problem. Their backgrounds were poles apart. Tatiana from childhood had the best of everything, all courtesy of the Red Army.
I had a lot of privileges other girls didn't have. My father had a big apartment, and of course my father had a special store where he could buy better food. My father was supposed to have a car with a driver because he was a very important person, and when he didn't use this driver, I could use him anytime I wanted to.
Edward came from a poor family, but even worse in the Soviet Union, they were Jewish.
I was born and lived in Kiev, Ukraine, and at that time it was quite difficult to live and study and go to school if you were Jewish because of the continuing insults from classmates. And when I wanted to get a job, even manual job, still I was turned down. And when I wanted to go to university, it was extremely difficult because they make some special questions for Jewish applicants and trying to fail them.
But he fought the system and was eventually admitted to university. Inevitably, the discrimination he continued to face turned Edward into a dissident against the Communist Party and the Soviet state, and put him on a collision course with Tatiana's parents.